Hi, my name is Brianna Greenwald, and today my presentation focuses on how integrated curriculum can be used to improve student engagement and behavior in the classroom. Throughout my graduate coursework, I explored topics such as integrated curriculum, student centered learning, and the impact of behavior on learning, which helped shape the focus of this project. In my classroom, I've noticed that when students are not engaged, their behavior often impacts both their own learning and the learning of other students. Because of this, I wanted to explore how integrated curriculum can be used as a strategy to improve both student engagement and behavior in a meaningful and practical way. Why this topic matters. One of the biggest challenges I've observed is that when instruction is taught in isolation, students tend to lose interest more quickly. For example, during more traditional lessons where students are mainly listening or completing one type of task, I've seen an increase in off task behaviors such as talking, lack of focus, and disengagement. This made me realize that the way instruction is structured plays a major role in student behavior. Because of this, I saw the need for more meaningful and connected learning experiences that keep students actively involved. Connection to coursework. This project is directly connected to what I have learned throughout my graduate coursework. In my action research, I focused on how disruptive behavior from students impacts learning in my classroom. Through that process, I began to notice that student engagement and behaviors are closely connected. When students are engaged, behaviors improve. And when they are disengaged, behaviors tend to increase. I also designed integrated curriculum using the Understanding by Design, or UBD, framework, which focuses on planning meaningful learning experiences rather than teaching isolated skills. This helped me think more intentionally about how to connect subjects in a way that makes learning more relevant for students. In addition, I explored critical literacy and student centered learning, which emphasized giving students opportunities to actively engage with content, collaborate with others, and make connections to their own experiences. These ideas connect to research by Dewey, who believes students learn best through experience, and Vygotsky, who emphasized the importance of social interaction in learning. All these experiences helped shape my understanding of how integrated curriculum can support both student engagement and behavior in the classroom. My original contribution. My original contribution is using integrated curriculum as a strategy to improve student engagement and reduce disruptive behavior. What I began to realize is that engagement isn't just about keeping students busy, it's about making learning meaningful. When students see connections between subjects, they're more likely to stay involved and understand the purpose of what they're learning. Instead of teaching reading, science, and writing as separate lessons, I intentionally connect them so students are using multiple skills at the same time. This shifts learning from something passive to something active, where students are thinking, discussing, and applying their understanding. Classroom application. One example of this in my classroom was during a weather unit that I created. During literacy or reading, students read an informational text about different types of weather and weather patterns, which helped them build vocabulary and background knowledge. Then, instead of ending the lesson there, I actually extended it into science by having students observe and record daily weather patterns over time. Students worked in pairs to discuss what they noticed and then began making connections between what they read and what they were experiencing in real life. I also integrated writing by having students explain their observations in complete sentences, which allowed them to organize their thinking and communicate their understanding. This type of learning aligns with research by Dewey, which supports learning through active, hands-on experiences. In addition to the weather lesson, I have used integrated curriculum in other specific ways to support engagement. For example, during reading, students might read a story and then respond by drawing a picture and writing about their favorite part. They may even explain what happened in the story. This allows them to process their understanding through both visuals and writing. I've also connected math and science by having students measure and record data during activities, such as weather tracking over time or even comparing temperatures. This helps students see how math can be used in a real-world situation. Another example is incorporating discussion into lessons, where students turn and talk to a partner to share their thinking before writing. This supports collaboration and helps students stay actively involved in the lesson. Observed impact on students. As I implemented these integrated lessons, I observed a noticeable increase in student engagement. More students were participating in discussions, asking questions, and staying focused throughout the lesson compared to a more traditional instruction type. I also saw a reduction in off-task behaviors, especially during hands-on and collaborative activities. For example, students who typically struggled to stay engaged were more actively involved and able to maintain focus for longer periods of time. When I compare this to more isolated lessons, the difference in engagement is very clear. These observations align with research on student-centered and integrated learning. For example, Vygotsky emphasized the importance of social interaction in learning, and integrated curriculum research, such as the work of Susan Drake, supports the idea that connecting subjects helps students stay engaged and develop deeper understanding. Professional growth. This project has helped me grow as an educator by changing the way I think about instruction. I've become more intentional in how I design lessons, focusing on creating connections across subjects rather than teaching them separately. It has also helped me reflect on how my instructional choices directly impact student engagement and behavior. I now recognize that when students are actively involved and see purpose in their learning, they are more likely to stay focused and participate. As a result, I feel more confident in designing lessons that support both academic success and a positive classroom environment. Conclusion. In conclusion, integrated curriculum is an effective way to support both student learning and behavior. When students are engaged in making meaningful connections, they are more likely to stay focused, participate, and succeed. This project has reinforced the importance of designing instruction that is interactive, purposeful, and student-centered. Moving forward, I plan to continue using this approach to create more engaging and supporting learning environment for my students. On this side are my references that I've used throughout this presentation. Thank you so much for watching.